So be careful what you say now. Mark got that. I say we wait till maybe 5 after, Don. Give people a few minutes to move from their jobs to a computer and sign in and all that kind of stuff. For those, since you guys are now on, hopefully you've received this document last week. Does this look familiar? This would have come to you via the courier. That's your school. It's a hard copy. If you're a teacher, you'll get the teacher version. If you're an SRP, it looks very similar, but it's the SRP version. Because I'm going to refer you to this quite a bit here this afternoon. By a little thumbs up, can any of you acknowledge that you received them? Thank you. Oh, I see a few. Okay, good. Is that Regina over there, over at Mitchell? Hello there, Regina. I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you? Oh, good. You're doing okay. I know Angelo's doing all right. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Men's amends. Okay, we got a couple more. Boom, boom. And as Don said earlier, for those of you that just clicked on in the last 30 seconds or so, put your name in the chat because that's how we're keeping records of who participated. And to be clear, you guys are being released from your normal job between the hours of 1 and 3, and the district will want to know that you were on here. So please make sure you just write your name in the chat. You know, my name is so from Cody River, whatever school you're from. Thank you. All right, well.
Jim, can you make me the co-host?
Now you're getting crazy here.
More
than this. I don't know where that is. I don't see more here.
After my name on more in the chat room.
Got it. Make co-host. Yes.
Yes.
There you are. You should be now. Okay. I think I did. Well, we'll see. Do you want to make Don? Yes. There you go. I think you're there.
Okay. Mr. Beck, I am asking you to unmute. Are you the contact rep at your school?
Give us a thumb, Bob, if you are the contact rep. Thank you. There it is. Yeah, there, I don't know if they can unmute, Don.
When we get done, you can unmute them.
You unmuted me.
I thought I had.
All right, good.
You didn't get any packet? Nobody at your school got a packet?
Not that I know of. I was at eSchool last year teaching art, so other people handled it. But as far as I know, it's not in my mailbox or anything like that.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to check with the other reps, and if you did not, just send us an email, and we'll send another packet out to you.
Okay, I'll check on that.
All right, Don, I've got 106. Maybe we should at least get started here.
Hang on, let me see who else. Desi Krell, where are you here?
She's in there.
Are we at 2 pages here now? I can't get a second page.
You have 35 people. We are definitely on 2 pages.
Desi, type in the chat an email that we can get stuff to you. I'm trying to monitor anybody else that did not get stuff.
Well, I asked Sarah to watch this too, so she can write the names down as well. We should be okay. Diane, do you still have students in your class? You are multitasking, I must say, very impressive. Okay, we got two more. One, two, here we go. All right, now we're up to about 40 almost. All right, that's good.
Okay, I don't see anybody else coming in, so,
Yeah, let me go.
oh, here's one.
That'll be just a second or two. Oh, I hit share and then I put the thing up. Am I right? Nah, just wait a second. Wow. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Don Peace. I'm here with Jim Ciadella. This are the SRP / TOY orientation meeting for 2021. The purpose of the meeting is to give you the procedures of the program. For those of you that have just got on the call, please put your name and work site in the chat so we have a record for the district of your attendance. And I do want to remind you guys, this is a little bit different than what we've done in the past. In the past, when we've held the meeting here at our office, you were excused for the afternoon. Since we're doing this virtually and you don't have to leave your work site, you are excused for the 2-hour presentation from 1 to 3. And if your schedule requires, then you would need to return to whatever duties you have at 3 o'clock. So don't go wandering home and getting called into the office tomorrow, please. We're doing it a little bit different this year due to COVID. So please work with us on that. First of all, I want to welcome you. Thank you for participating in the process. This is a process to get recognition to our teachers and support staff who are so deserving. Probably this year and last year, probably everybody is deserving because of all the stuff that we're putting up with in the classroom and at the work site. So first of all, thank you for being there. And then thank you for helping us out in this program. I'm going to turn the rest of the meeting over to Mr. Ciadella, and he will run you through the PowerPoint. And I would ask that you hold your questions until the end, and then we'll unmute everybody. And if we have still questions or concerns, we'll try to take care of it at the end. But again, thank you for being a part of the process. Mr. Ciadella.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Nice to see you all here. Hope everybody's had a nice holiday weekend, Labor Day, so very nice. As Don just mentioned, this is an annual event. For those of you that have worked here for many years, you know we do this every year. For those of you that are relatively new, you're actually selecting during this process people that will be the teacher or SRP of your school for the 22-23 school year, not this year. Those folks were selected in the same way we're doing this now last year to be awarded and recognized this entire school year. So you hopefully, as I mentioned to those that were on early, we sent this out, which is about a 10 or 15 page, kind of a step-by-step guidance, both for teachers and SRP. It's an individual document that explains this procedure much more in depth than what you're going to hear today. I'm going to walk you through the very generic steps, what you need to pretty much be aware of as you do this. If you've done this before, you know it's pretty straightforward. You'll probably have no real issue handling this. But if not, we want to make sure you feel comfortable in taking this on. It's important. We want to make sure people are recognized appropriately. And bottom line, you're selecting one teacher at your school or one SRP at your school or work site, if it's a bus garage, a maintenance facility, to be that person, the teacher of the year for your school or the SRP of the year for that school for the 22-23 school year. So that's what we're doing here. That's the generic explanation as to what this is about. It's a state-approved process. So this is actually in law. And the people that are selected district, teacher, and SRP of the year, we also have admin of the year, which we do not select, but other people do. There actually is a state level, in case you're unaware of that. There's a state level teacher of the year and SRP of the year, and there's money associated with that. In fact, I think it's around $10,000 for teacher of the year. I mean, it's quite an award, and obviously a tremendous honor to be selected that. So that's the process. I will tell you, if you have any questions, you can put them in our chat room, or we can talk a little afterwards. I'm not an expert on every detail of this, but I will get answers to you for several people here that are not here today. Is that okay, Mr. Englander? You're smiling when I said that. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the PowerPoint, give you guys the basic idea. Some of it's pretty straightforward. You guys don't get too worried, but there's some details you need to be aware of. I will tell you, if you have this, terrific. Look at it when you get a chance. The letters that are in here, the ballot that is in here that you'll be using at your schools, all of the forms you need are in this document. If you don't have this document, whether you're a teacher or SRP, as we said earlier, either put it in the chat room, tell me at the end of the meeting, or follow up with an email. We'll make sure you get it. Okay, so I will tell you before we go to the PowerPoint, there's one form on here. Hello, Mark. There's one form here that you need to be aware of. This is the timeline. You can't see this, so don't, but it's basically there are dates and things that have to occur. Okay, and the first one, really, some of this stuff's already happened. The letters went to your schools relative to this program. You're going to have to start looking at selecting the teacher and SRP of the year. So let's walk through this. But that timeline that will be in that document is really the guiding timeline you need to be aware of. Mark, did you have a question before I got rolling? You're muted, though. Let me see if I can get you unmuted. I was hoping to go ahead. There you are.
My question is that the one that's on the website that says the 22-23 SRP Teacher of the Year?
Yes,
Okay, so we can download it from there if you don't have it.
you can. That is correct. Thank you, sir. All right, so let's go through the time. I'm going to share. All right, share screen. Boom. And share. And slideshow. Come on. From beginning. Can everybody hear me? I hope. All right, so let's walk through. As you can see, it's teacher SRP of the year. Obviously, we didn't update the year. As you can see below, it says 21-22. It's 22-23. We always do this. For those of you that have been members a long time, we used to collect a $5 contribution to our scholarship funds if cell phones were ringing during a meeting. Obviously, we're not going to be doing that here today, as you're not here physically and you're muted, so we have no idea whether your phone went off or not. We hope that you're not listening to your phones at the moment. Some of this, again, is philosophy, just to walk you through this entire program. On the teacher side, it's to honor teachers who are representative of all excellent teachers in Pasco County. There also is criteria, or our criteria steps, that are in the document I mentioned to you. It goes into a lot more detail of things you might look at when you present this to your faculty to help select who your people should be for Teacher of the Year. Same thing on the SRP side. Obviously, it's not really just to single somebody out, but it's to honor somebody who is representative of the good and the excellent working situations here in Pasco schools. If you have a contract handy, you can look at some of this, but here is some of the language we have. It simply says that in the SRP contract, the union is the entity that actually helps conduct the election process. Number 2 is a little new, but we did add it. It says because of COVID-19 last year, and obviously now this year, this meeting is being done this way. We are recording this, by the way, in case you didn't know that. So at the end of the meeting, this entire presentation will be on our website as well. So you can refer back to this if you have any questions. The entire taped presentation will be there. Our instructional contract, this is where it is, section W under working conditions. It talks about the process. Again, just some basics you guys should know, and it may seem overly obvious, but in case it's not, for those of you that are new, teachers at the school will select a teacher of the year at that school. SRP of that school will also select SRP. You don't vote for each other. It's by unit, it's by bargaining unit. Number 6 says teachers, the Teacher of the Year committee shall announce timelines for nominations and votings 2 weeks prior. I'm going to say we're probably right into that time now. So subsequent to this presentation, really over the next 2 weeks, you guys can start this process, and we'll walk through what that means and what that will look like. As I said, nominations for Teacher of the Year come from teachers only. Same thing with our SRP. Voting is done by secret ballot. As I mentioned to you, and when you look at the document we sent to you at your schools, there is a sample ballot. It's blank. So the idea is for you to make copies of it, obviously putting names on the document, whether there's 2, 3, or 4 teacher possible candidates or more. And then people will be asked in private to vote for their Teacher of the Year and SRP of the Year. What isn't progressive? This? Hang on, everyone. It's progressing here.
It's showing the whole slide, Fred. It's not just showing that slide.
No, they can see it. Whatever. Again, each SRP and Teacher of the Year composed by committees are composed of eligible bargaining unit members at your school. You guys will be asked, unless you've already done this, and some schools may have already gotten a jump on this, because we did send out information previous to this meeting, to start determining who will be on your selection committee. Typically, it's 3, 4, 5 people, 3 or 4 or 5 teachers at a school, 3 or 4 or 5 SRP at a school or a work site that will meet to determine the process, the dates for sending out informational sheets, for getting nominations, for gathering information that you will then send out to people, and then the ballot itself. So that's information. You may have already started that. We actually have email here from several schools that have already started this by having a committee selected and a chairperson selected. So again, usually there's 4 or 5 people on a committee. Those 4 or 5 people amongst themselves select the chairperson for the committee. And then it's the duty of the chairperson to help guide the process, to make sure you stay on the timelines as needed. Nominate, again, I'm not reading every one of these, so they're pretty straightforward. Nominations shall come from bargaining unit members only. And as I said, secret ballots. So whether you vote for somebody or you don't, nobody should know how you voted. It's done by secret ballot. You fold the ballot, you'll send it back to the person coordinating it, or in a box that person will set up in an area that is fairly secure. And then obviously at the end of a certain date, those ballots will be counted and the people will be determined. Okay. This will give you some idea, because this gets a little confusing at times. The rules are actually set, and at least for teachers, by the Department of Education, the DOE. And these are the following full-time teachers who are eligible to be nominated. So if you have any questions, you can call us, but these are pretty much by rules by the Department of Education, who are people that are eligible to be nominated and then selected. Certainly any and all classroom teachers, pre-K through 12, are eligible. Department chairpersons, or typically classroom people as well, they're eligible. Speech language pathologists working with students, they are certainly eligible. Guidance counselors. We used to have media specialists. Certainly that's not necessarily here in our district any longer. And other categories. Post-secondary vocational ed teachers, which we now have several schools that have very specific technical ed programs, adult ed teachers, pretty much any position that is involved in an instructional capacity dealing with students directly. They are eligible to be nominated. Okay. On the SRP side, it's a little more straightforward. A full-time or even a part-time SRP employee who is employed by the school district specifically is included in the SRP bargaining unit. They are eligible. Now, this question comes up. Obviously, anybody, and I always say the easiest way to know this is if the name, if the position,
PowerPoint slides are not working. Maybe
they're not moving. Excuse me, everyone.
maybe unshare and then stop sharing and then.
Let's
try
get
to
out of
share
this for a
again.
minute. Okay,
'Cause
what's
that's
not
all
happening?
I'm seeing is that right there.
This?
Yep, that's all we're seeing. That did that thing right there.
It's not moving?
No.
Okay, hang on, everybody. Got a little technical glitch. Show me. Or no? All right. Okay. And I'm sorry, I guess what I'm being told is not everybody is able to see these screens, and I don't know how that could be, but I'm gonna try to click on it. Let's see if this works a little better. What I was starting to say is anybody that has the word manager or supervisor after their title are not eligible. Obviously, those are management people. So your plant managers, your assistant plant managers, etc. Those folks would not be, as you know, schools all have a confidential person. They're not eligible. Your SRO office, they are not eligible. Okay, they're not part of the units. So those people, if they were to come to you, you would just politely tell them they're not eligible to either be nominated or to vote in the process. I'm going to click this. Let's see if this moves forward. Sarah? It worked? Thank you. Okay. Again, sorry, buddy. I'm trying to do this and for some reason, I guess these slides weren't moving. So successful worksite process. Really what you should do is familiarize yourself with the document I mentioned to you earlier that you will get or you already have. Many of you indicated you already have received that. It gets into more of the actual details, not to make this complicated, but basically you're going to have a process where you put together a nomination form. People at a meeting will start to determine who wants to be nominated. And obviously you have to make provisions to ensure those people that are nominated are willing to be potentially voted on. They may not want to be involved. And that has happened in certain cases. So once you get nominated, obviously the chairperson or somebody of the committee should confirm that they want to be considered. And that's what some of this is all about here in terms of the committee deciding the procedures in advance, the dates, work within the timeline that you're going to be sent, but you can do that anytime within the timeline. Okay, here you are. Follow the timelines, announce them. Usually they say a week in advance. I'm going to suggest, honestly, here we are in September. I would suggest following this meeting, you start to determine, if you haven't already, who you guys want as your committee. Two separate committees, an SRP committee and a instructional teacher committee. Typically, you should vote on this at a staff meeting or other way to do that, depending on your availability at schools and whoever is holding meetings this year. So that's something you need to determine how you want to do that. Okay, here we go. Then you're getting involved in providing nomination forms that provide criteria. This stuff, again, will be in the document. And I'm just going to read you some of this so you'll have an idea what I'm referring to. I keep saying it, but here is the teacher of the year. Here are some of the criteria that we want you to use when you're considering somebody to be teacher of the year at your school. These are just words. You'll read all of this. A superior ability to foster education and education, to contribute to the continuous improvement of student learning and school environment, knowledge of the subject matter taught, and ability to effectively use materials relating to the subject. Leadership in educational activities at the school, district, or state level, such as member of an advisory council, a task force, and there's 4 or 5 others. You can imagine that what these are. These are things that are distinguishing somebody at your school that you guys believe has been involved with most of those pieces of criteria. So obviously this is, and you'll hear this if you haven't already, a lot of times people will complain that these are merely popularity contests. Can I sit here and tell you that being popular isn't part of this? No, I can't. But really, the criteria should go more beyond that. And the things I just read to you, plus several others, will help to give you an idea what we're really looking for in a candidate to be elected teacher, or for that matter, SRP of the year. The second bullet point there is important. Check with the nominees for acceptance. Once they're nominated at a meeting, just take the names down and then follow up privately with them. Do you want to be considered? They say yes, then obviously that's someone you're going to follow up with to gather information that'll be put on a ballot at some point. Okay? Sarah, just move forward. Thank you. Once you guys have determined when you want to do this, and again, it should all be done really in the month of September. You will see that shortly. You want to announce the voting times and procedures. You may want to simply distribute ballots, which is what you're probably going to do, to all eligible teachers at your school and or eligible SRP. Ask them to vote at their leisure, fold it properly, stick it in an envelope, and return it to you if you're coordinating the vote, or create a box, which we've used for ratification and other voting techniques. And you have a date and you'll have a location. You want them to return it by a given date. You guys need to determine then if it's going to be simple majority, 50 plus one, or how you want to do it. Typically, it's a 50% plus one to make sure whoever gets voted on. You may have ties. That can happen too. And that's what this means when you see allowed time for runoffs. So you might want to make sure you've got a week before you have to turn this in back to us, which when you get the timeline, you will see is September 30th. It's about 3 weeks, I guess, almost 3.5 weeks from today. Runoffs, obviously, if you end up with 5 people on your ballot and 2 people are tied and they have more votes than everybody, then you're going to have a runoff. And obviously, someone will then vote just for those 2 people. Obviously, one of them will then be considered the winner and therefore the teacher or SRP of the year for that school. Certainly important that you maintain the integrity of the voting process. I would not have a ballot box just floating around so somebody could stick 16 ballots in there after making copies. And I know some of you might think that's humor, but those are the kind of things we hear happening at our national elections for much more important situations than we're probably talking about here. So we want to make sure somebody control the box, or probably your best bet maybe is having a point in time where the chairperson, you set up a time for 1 hour, one morning, or everybody comes in and they stick their ballots in the box or they hand them to you. So you control the ballots. That's important. Now, if you want to plan awards and some sort of celebration at your school, that's wonderful. And a lot of schools do that. I'm sure you guys know that. Again, this should be a very positive activity, guys. This is one things we do every year that is really to simply honor those people that, and you all should be honored, as Don said earlier. The fact that you worked here last year through the most incredibly trying year we've ever experienced, and now we're doing it again, essentially. You all should be given some sort of recognition. And certainly we always at USCP recognize that. And we should make you all teachers in SRP of the year if we can do that. But we still are following the process, and at least one person will be selected. So have fun with this. This is important for people to feel proud of being elected or selected at their schools. We also, once that person is selected, there is I don't want to say short time period, but relatively speaking, short time period. We will coordinate this. We'll get you the dates, but we want to make sure that people not only participate by being elected at your school, but also by being elected possibly, or at least being considered for the district teacher and district SRP of the year. And in years past, as you probably know, many of you that have been around, there have been very large celebrations, usually one out at Wesley Chapel at the arts program, and the same thing at the Arts Center at River Ridge, where we bring in all of you guys that are district school winners, and one of you are elected that evening and announced. It's a wonderful event. Again, unfortunately, with where we are as a world and as a district, we're not putting people in large rooms right now, so that I don't believe that's happening this year. But there will be some way to acknowledge our district and a district teacher and SRP of the year. And that's still being determined how that will look. Here's the actual language, which will give you an idea on the district process. presuming you get elected at your school, let's just take, for example, you're a custodian and you're elected SRP of the year for your school. Your name will be given to a committee, which is typically, in this case, 5 SRP, which you'll see from the language here. Those SRP will look at the people that were selected SRP of the year for their schools, and they will obviously determine people that they believe should be considered as the district level. They will be given release time. They come to our offices here, and I've seen this done. They will sit down for several days, and they will go through numbers of people, and they'll determine, based on language and information that you will be given and that you will provide to them once you're selected SRP at your school or teacher of your school. They will then determine winners, and they will then go out and visit and actually interview those people. It's quite a process, really. But the idea is for them to then select, after 3 finalists are determined, who the SRP or teacher of the year will be. And then those people will go to the district, will turn those names into to the district itself, and then they will make sure that those people are honored appropriately. Somebody's being admitted, okay. But you can see the timeline. We have to submit back to the board, which is the district, by October 1st, a list of teacher of the year, the committee, which we're doing. And obviously then we will obviously get into the process of determining who the winners are. So obviously following this meeting, we want you guys to start working on, when you can, and again, in addition to everything else you do, how the process is going to work, who your 5 or 6 teacher representatives on the committee will be, which is your selection committee, and the same thing on the SRP side. That we need to know. And then obviously the process will start using that timeline that we discussed. Instructional contract, same thing here. You can see this. And this is where we reference the half day of temporary duty leave. Today is your half day. It's really, now we're doing it, since we're doing it via Zoom, it's a half a day. It's really a 1 to 3, 2-hour process. So we'll open this up to questions momentarily. But teachers who serve on the Teacher of the Year committee will also be given up to 5 additional days, and SRP are 3 additional days to determine who their people should be. And then those people will be selected and given to the district. Finally, the district deadline. Okay, this is what we need to know. Remind your worksite teacher of the year deadline for receipt of these informations and applications. All of this stuff is in your document. I'm going to stop sharing and maybe just show you a little bit of this. And again, I'm sorry if you didn't see all the screen earlier. I hope you heard what I was trying to say. There we go. But in this document, there are letters and there are information that you will use. And when you get it, they're self-explanatory. But this is a nomination form, and you'll see it asks for name, educational background, what you do at your school, how long you've been there. Same thing for SRP. There's obviously a name. There's a sample ballot. Again, you guys have seen ballots. It's a blank form. You simply list on the form whether you have 1, 2, 3, or 10 teacher or SRP nominees. Those people then they are nominated. And the ballot, you'll have the names on here. You'll fold them. We ask you, usually you either staple them or stick them in an envelope. Keep it as private as possible. Stick it into the mailboxes of your people. You'll have a list, and if not, we'll get you a list of who your members are and and then it's not just members, I should say that. The bargaining unit means bargaining unit. All teachers, all SRP. They're not necessarily have to be members. We'd like them to be candid, but they do not have to be. That's not a criteria. And then the voting will be done. And again, I know it's a lot easier and it's usually clearer when we can look at each other and I can have this document in your hands. We usually hand this to you when you come here, if we had the meeting face to face. Obviously, we're not doing that this year, nor did we do it last year. I am sorry if that confused you in any way. It wasn't my intention, I can assure you, but the process, once you get this document, please review it. Obviously, we will be open to any questions you will have afterwards. Don, I don't know if you're there, but at this point, that's really what I have. I thought maybe what we'll do is open it up. Any generic questions right now we can get into. Otherwise, we can ask you to send email or respond, and we'll respond to you via email. So I'm going to try to unmute. How do we do that? Everybody?
At the bottom of their participants list.
Okay. I'm there. I can see all the participants. All I say is mute.
I got it. I just asked everybody to unmute. So you can
Okay.
unmute yourself.
Got it.
Hold on.
There we go.
Yay.
Okay.
Looks like people are talking. We have, all right. All right, we will do our best to answer any questions you may have now. I know if you haven't gotten this document, some of what I said may have sounded fine, but it's hard until you start to see the forms. But the forms pretty much spell it out for you. So what questions? I see a hand up in the corner. It says EMAC or SMAC. I'm not sure how to say that. So what's the question, please? She's muted. Let's go, or he's muted.
I'm so sorry. I muted myself again because I'm in between like two classes and I
That's
didn't want
okay.
to interrupt it. But is it possible that when we do like the secret ballot, could we do a secret ballot virtually so that it could like potentially increase participation if they're like anonymously filling out like a survey monkey?
I don't know that we've ever done it that way. Any of you guys that have ever handled this, you want to speak to that? I don't know that we need possession. Whoa. Mona, go ahead, Mona.
I know that we only did it last year for the teachers that we knew were quarantined, or having to work at home for one reason or another. That way you don't have a lot of people. That way you know for sure that you're only getting one response from them or whatever. But it made it a little bit easier just having those people, but it also gives them the opportunity to make sure they get to vote or make sure they get to nominate and vote.
So am I correct that you could expand that to have everybody vote that way? It sounds like.
The problem with SurveyMonkey is that people can put in repeated responses. You need to devise a way where you have one person and one vote so that you control the voting process. If there's some way that you can do something where they have to sign it and return it, you could send them through the email, I guess, and have them sign it, scan it back to you. But, quite honestly, this could also serve as one of your 4 meetings. If you get people together, you can make it an open time where people can just come into the corner of your room and pick up a ballot and sign it and put one in.
Yeah.
However you can do it to make it easy for you, but we just have to control the one person, one vote concept.
This has got to happen.
I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to kind of throw out a suggestion out there. I know that one thing that's helped us at our schools in the past, Danielle can attest to that, at Cox always helped out. And I think I'm going to do that this year at Chester Taylor as well, is instead of having a set time during the day or during staff meeting or whatever, you give them like 30 minutes before school starts, 30 minutes, when at the end of the day, our admin was really preferred that. And it gave a lot more staff members a chance as they're either coming in. I know at one point I had them as they were coming in the gate, standing right there. Here's your chance, fill it out, stick it in the envelope, or hit them up as they're leaving. It kind of motivates them and gives them that opportunity to show up and put their choices in there.
Good suggestion.
And have them sign the sign-in sheet.
And by the way, I will tell you, unless I'm wrong, some of you guys can speak to this, but this is a very important and typically a very positive thing that the schools and the bus garages do. So you should have nothing but support from your administrative team to make this happen. They're not looking to make this a hurdle. It should not be that typically at all. And if it is, you should let us know. But I can't ever think of that happening. But if it does, let us know. They should actually participate and want to make sure this gets done properly. I can assure you, having been at these presentations, there is no school, there's no principal who wants his or her school to be announced with no winner. I've seen that happen a couple, and that's kind of embarrassing for them. So they will make sure as much as they can that, as you heard Mona just say, that you'll have time to ensure that the voting gets done.
Mhm.
Diane, your hand is up.
Cunningham.
I was gonna say that we have, asked teachers if they so choose, if they couldn't be here on the day of voting, because we do it before school, after school, and then Janet usually has the box in her classroom and she'll let people come in all day long into her classroom. We do have teachers in SRP sign for their ballot. They have to initial their name. So don't have any stuffing of the ballot box. But if they choose to and they don't object to it, and we let them email us one of the reps, their choices, if they don't mind doing that, if they can't be here.
Thank you. Good idea. Katie.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. Once you go on mute, you can't come back unless I ask for you. So thank you. I had a couple people last year who did not feel comfortable doing it digitally, and like I was at home, so I did just mail them a ballot to their house, and then they would just drop it off in school. And I had a point person on the committee collect them, and then we went over it from there. So I know a lot of people are not comfortable doing it all digitally. They want their vote to be on paper. So that was an idea for that. And then I'm looking for, wasn't there a form that we used to have to nominate people on your committee and you filled out who's on the committee form or something? I'm looking for that and I didn't see it in the packet. You know, it says these are the people on the committee. We're not.
You
Yeah,
mean
I'm
I'm
sorry.
the actual teacher of the year SRP committee?
Yeah, I'm looking for each of those, one for each of the forms. I didn't see it in the packet. I didn't see it online. So
I don't know. Let me find out. Good question.
thanks.
So, okay, I know what you're asking. We'll find out.
All right, and then just email it out to us maybe each.
You bet. You bet.
Thank you.
You
If
can
not, just
also,
send us
by
an
the way,
email with the names of the people that you've selected at your school.
Oh,
you can
okay.
just
Like
email us.
last year's
That's-
winner, one or two of the reps, maybe get a couple volunteers, 4 or 5 people.
And email it to you. Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay. Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Hi, so that was one of my questions too about the committee form. The second one was, who exactly is our point person that we should be contacting? Like when it says to notify you about who the SRP and the teacher of the year are. Is that
Candy
John?
Campola. Candy, Candie, Campola, Compola, C Campola at useponline.org.
Okay, great. So that would be our contact person.
Yes, ma'am.
She compiles all the winners. She communicates to everybody. So yes. And she'll answer any question, or she'll come to us if there's questions she can't deal with. But yeah, that would be the right way to go.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. We got a lot of time. Any other questions? How are the Bucks going to do tomorrow night? Anybody? Come on.
I have some questions.
Who's that?
Joyce
Hello.
from
Hello,
Watercraft.
Joyce.
Hi.
Hi, Joyce.
How
Go
are
ahead.
you?
Good, thanks.
Well, good. I'm glad this meeting's going great. I have a lot of questions, so I apologize if they're dumb. I'm the only building rep here. There is no SRP rep.
Okay.
So I'll do both. I mean, okay. So with that being said,
What school? I'm sorry. What school did you say you're at?
I'm at Watergrass Elementary.
We have no SRP members there that might want to jump in and be on the committee?
I put out a blanket email to all
Oh.
staff last week and nobody wants to assist. So, I mean, I have one IA and another teacher that is willing to help me to be on the selection committee. But my question is, do the people on the selection committee all have to be union members?
No, they have to be in
Okay.
the bargaining unit. They have to, which is any SRP and or any teacher.
Oh, okay, okay.
As I said
And,
earlier, we would prefer it, but we can't, it's not an absolute criteria, so no.
okay, okay. And I have a confusion over the years, 2021, 22. Obviously, this is 21, 22. Why is this for next year? I don't understand. I'm confused.
Because believe it or not, that's the way the process is done. We select somebody this year and next year, because this whole process runs through almost January by the time a state person is awarded it. It's to honor them next year with whatever honors you give them. Some get parking places and other things. So it's done a year in advance, basically. You're electing somebody this year to be honored next year.
Okay.
You are correct. It doesn't make a bit of sense, but that's how the state's always done it. We've
Uh,
asked.
Sorry, I thought
it's
I
all
was
right.
following it and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm so confused.
That's part of the reason why the people, well, part of it was COVID, but then the district also wanted to align things more with the year that you're being honored. So the people that were selected last year were supposed to be honored tonight and tomorrow night at River Ridge High School and Wesley Chapel High School in the auditoriums, but because of COVID, those were postponed. So I don't know how they're going to react to that, but they wanted to put it into this year so that you're being recognized in the year that you're being selected for.
Correct.
So it's a mess, but that it's coming from the state, so
Okay,
that
okay.
pretty much explains it.
And the initial ballot, I know, is this the one that the teachers all get, like when we hold the voting process? The
Okay.
initial voting process. I thought it was more like a smaller slip of paper with only like 3 names
If you
available.
want to design your own, go right ahead and do that. If you want to do it on a Word document and just make it a half page and just type names in and put a line for a check or whatever.
Okay,
Do it however is easiest for you. That's just a sample.
okay.
Make it as easy as you can. And since you're doing both, if you want to do them at the same time,
Yes,
what I would do is I would suggest that you get a copy of send us an email and we'll send you a copy
We'll
of the
send you.
SRP.
I got
and
it. I got it.
The
But
lists
yeah.
are in there.
You got it. She's
Yes.
got it.
Then just have people sign for the ballot, so that you can control, one person, one vote, and you can run them together. I did that at Gulf Middle School as well. We didn't have a SRP. rep.
Okay. And a few more quick questions. I'm sorry, but I'm all by myself here and I've really never done it. I've always,
Ask away. You're doing good.
yeah. So on the ballots, on the initial ballots, how many people can one person select? Each teacher just selects one person?
Yes.
Okay, so it's just one
person, one vote.
one person, one vote, okay. And I forgot what my other question was. I'll have to, it'll pop back into my head. Sorry. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you. I don't see any other yellow hands. Is that possible? Okay. By the way, I just saw Mona, thank you. She just put in the chat room for those of you that wanted the email address. She put Candy Campola's actual email address in there. So take a look. It's straightforward. It's down at ccampola@uscponline.org, but it's in there now. So take a look at that. She's sort of she is our point person when it comes to this program. And she'll answer any questions, timelines, and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, Miss Christina Cage, you need to unmute. And probably unmask so we can see you. There
Yes.
you are. Hi.
Hi. So I'm new to this whole process, but the last couple of years, I'm one of our school media people. So like our social media, I do that. Our website, I do that. And each year we have announced our SRP and Teacher of the Year right after we choose.
Mhm.
And so we're basically celebrating them from the moment that they are chosen. Is that okay? Because I didn't really realize about the years until just now.
There is a timeline. I think it's included in the packet, but generally speaking, it's the district's position to hold these as a secret for for at least a time until everyone can be recognized, and I think they do it kind of universally, and that's one of the events that is at the west side of Wesley or the west side of River Ridge and the east side at Wesley Chapel. All of those SRP and instructional winners from each of the schools come and are presented their plaques for winning. So I would kind of hold off a little bit on the timing of that instead of doing it right after. But you know, it's your people, it's your call.
It's not the end of the world if you do that. Where is she? Did that answer your question, Christina? Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Miss
All right,
C-Mac.
listen. Yes, Mac, C-Mac.
Hi. When it comes to celebrating the individuals that like end up winning Teacher of the Year and SRP of the Year, do we coordinate with like the admin how to celebrate them, or is there like a budget that we're given so that like we're able to like make a basket for them or something like that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, it generally speaking, what happens is you would report your findings to the administration, and what generally happens across the district is the administration and the teacher or SRP committee members would make a surprise visit when it's convenient for the administration. You walk into the classroom to surprise them. You know, you have a budget of $0 to celebrate on, so spend it however you like. But usually the administration will get flowers for ladies and, you know, some appropriate gift for guys. And they try to make it a big deal at your school, but they generally do it as a surprise pop-in visit. And that's when the committee members for each of the two units would accompany the administration. You can work that out with your administration. But they're pretty helpful about coming up with, you know, money for, you know, some appropriate recognition. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What date exactly is the celebration reveal?
At your school,
Yes.
whenever you and your administrator agrees upon it.
Okay, because again, just a little bit of a confusion. So throughout the rest of this month, we conduct the nominations. And then at the end of the month, we notify you guys of the winners. And then there's a lot of district USCEP, okay, deadline for receipt of district. Do we have to be concerned with any of those dates?
Well, yes, you want to make sure that you notify your school winners that if they want to compete for the district level award, there's some
Okay.
paperwork that needs to be done for that. And then if they want to move on to the state level, if they're district winners, then we take care of that, getting in touch with them. But there's
Okay.
some state information that they need to do. So you just want to let them know of the process. It doesn't just stop at your school. There is opportunity for district and state recognition as well.
Okay. And in the past, I wasn't on the committee, but I know in the past, but pre-COVID, that the winners would have like family members join them and take pictures with them. And, you know, during the celebration, I would assume that that's a no still.
Well, the last time that we did it, which was 2 years ago, they allowed. That's why they moved it to the centers at River Ridge and Wesley Chapel, and they opened it up for you can bring as many, you know, friends and family as you want.
Okay.
It's just you come up, you're recognized, you come across the stage, you have your picture taken with the superintendent, a school board member, myself. USEP is the sponsor, so we're recognized. And then the teacher or SRP gets your picture taken, you get a plaque, you get a goodie bag. And, you know, it's not a big deal if you want to bring people to come and share in the celebration.
Okay. And again, dumb question, but anybody can place their vote. They don't have to be union members, anybody, teachers, SRPs.
Correct.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
By the way, somebody posted here, which is an interesting question, and it says, can we agree that nominees be excluded from counting votes? And I would say, yes, that would be a very smart thing to do. That'd be like, well, I won't even go there. But yes, you don't want the nominees touching the ballots, okay? So that's a very good question. I'm not making fun. It's a good clarifying question.
Integrity is important. We need
Absolutely.
to maintain the integrity of the election. That's why you need to control the ballots. You need to make sure that people just vote once.
Right.
Okay.
Mona Stafford, unmute so we can talk to you. There you
I
go.
was just gonna say, because, you know, somebody just asked the question about the, who can vote and things like that. I know you guys sent didn't y'all send out a full staff list of everybody that's eligible in SRP or no? Or is that something they need to get from their data entry or bookkeeper?
I don't know if we sent a list of total, again, we have a list of members, so we wouldn't have a list of.
Okay.
So we probably.
check.
That might be a suggestion, to
Okay.
go to your bookkeeper and ask them for a list of the eligible SRP and teachers so that you know which staff are allowed to vote.
So just to clarify, because I heard comments while I was on.
Is that for us? I hear somebody asking something.
Sounds like Anita.
I don't know what that might be a school-based question unrelated to us. I couldn't tell.
I just checked with the powers that be, and they said that in the packets, you should have an employee list of SRP and the SRP packets and teachers on the
Okay.
instructional.
Yeah.
And they do not have to be a union member to vote,
Correct.
but that does not preclude you from having a conversation about joining the union.
Good opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. Absolutely. So ask him again. It's a great time to ask him to become part of the organization. Absolutely. Well, everybody, thank you very much for all of your time. Obviously, if you have any questions beyond today, which I am going to guess you will, feel free to call here, email. My email is on our website, Candy's we just gave you, and we will be happy to respond quickly. We'll get any documents if you need any. I would just please make sure you realize that it is a very time sensitive thing. So whatever you do, start it soon so you can get started with the process so we can keep on track time-wise and everybody gets, hopefully gets honored appropriately. So thank you all for participating. It's always appreciated. And wait a minute, there's a question here before we go. Question about bullet. Who's Katie? Where are you? There you are. I see. Wait a minute. There you go. You're unmuted. Go ahead.
Like, hey, I moved schools, and so I'm at Trinity Oaks Elementary and not Gulfside anymore, which is so weird because I was at Gulfside for 10 years. Go Gulfside.
Absolutely. Great school.
You know what I mean? Your wife's school.
I know very well what you mean. Yes.
So, but I'm at Toes now, and I love it here too. But I don't know if we got sent out the new bulletin boards or anything like that. If we did, just let me know. If we didn't, I'll keep waiting.
We sent out a number of things to start the school year.
I'll check with Jane Bauer. Then.
Would you? I'm not sure. Again, I couldn't tell you everything in there, but.
Okay, but I didn't know
Right.
if there was a new packet for new bulletins or anything this year.
It came in the box of the supplies,
right.
the gifts for new members or for
I will
It
go
members.
did.
get that.
Okay. Okay.
She distributed that and then we changed hands. So thank you so much. I'll go get that from her.
You're welcome. Good luck at Toes. You'll do well. I have no doubt.
I got the messages from Sunray and Calusa. I will double check with Sarah and have her send you out an extra packet. Also, Moon Lake. Okay, anything else?
Well, before we go, I see a very timely, where is that? If I can find it again. It's got nothing to do with. I wish I got, I think I just went past it. Somebody wanted to speak. I know we have a little time here, so that's fine. Something about masks. Did I read this properly? I don't know who put it on here. Up in the corner was Andrea, however you say it. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I say that properly. Go ahead, ma'am. You're on.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So are we close to maybe getting the district to mandate masks?
Interesting that you asked that. We just had a school board this morning. Right now, the governor has said no. That was taken to court. The judge ruled in favor of the plaintiff and said that the Commissioner of Education and governor overstepped boundaries. That was appealed, and there was a immediate stay put on that order. I believe that stay hearing is tomorrow, which probably won't change anything. But until that case is settled, probably not. Short answer.
How about this question, Andrea, to you? Because we have been hearing from people. Obviously, there is nothing that says you can't wear a mask, you personally, to protect yourself and others. I am hearing from a number of schools that many, in fact, I'm hearing most teachers are not doing so. Whether it's mandated or not. What are you hearing? What do you see? What's
I wear mine, obviously, and I have a shield.
All right. Okay.
But I do see a lot of teachers not wearing them. So and from what I've seen, a lot of it is divided along politics lines.
Yeah.
And it's just the numbers, they're just so bad. They're just horrible. And I have a second job, and the kids go to Hillsborough, where the masks are mandated, but it's still really bad. But I think theirs will get better because their mask mandate has only been in effect for like 2 weeks.
Right.
But I'm quarantined, not like I'm home. Well, at my other job, it's a foster care group home. And because I have a positive kid here. But anyway, it's just the numbers are so bad. So I just wanted to know, it's just something's got to be done, or nobody's going to be able to be anywhere, and they're going to have to shut schools down again. And I don't think any of us want that to happen.
No, I'm going to guess nobody wants to see that happen, but.
Right. Yeah.
No. You're correct. I see people putting their hands up, but we are, we had many conversations about this. It appeared we could not really convince them, nor do we take the stand. We're going to do it either way. We just figured, at some point, every power that seems to be was against going that route with a mandate. Now, obviously, there are districts that have chosen to do that, to defy the governor. I give them credit, but that's where they are. We have not gone that route, and we're monitoring. We want to make sure. But I got to tell you, what concerns me is, I guess let's see, 95% of personal wear. Okay, well, somebody said 95% of people at their school are wearing them. I was disturbed when I came to school the first week of school, and I was told several high schools, almost nobody was wearing it. And again, no, they're not mandated, but they're highly encouraged. There's nothing that says you can't to protect yourself. You said you wear a shield too, so you're really protecting yourself and others, when I commend you. So anyway, I don't know how to answer that other than that we have not chosen to push beyond that at this point. And we're monitoring it as best we can. And the numbers, infection rate, somehow it's still high, but it's at least now finally, after 2 weeks, a little bit on a downward trend. Maybe that's a positive thing that will continue. I don't know.
Here's the thing. That's not really true, because, like, for example, the lady that sends out the emails to let us know who's quarantined, we're so far behind at Stewart Middle to where on a Friday she may send out the email, but the kid comes back that Monday.
Oh, she sends it for the past week, you mean, and not the week coming.
Right, and so it's like, it's more than what they're saying from what I've seen.
Well, I'll tell you, the superintendent himself actually said at a meeting a couple weeks ago that they can't almost keep up with the number in terms of a prompt number and a prompt reply. So it's a bad situation currently. There's no question about it. So I don't have a better response at this time. Thank you for that point. It was a good question.
Thank you.
Anybody? Mr. Englander, anything? You've been quiet here today. What do you got? Nothing. Okay. Mr. Lantakos, what about you, sir? Even your associate next to you, she's mashed up. There she is. I see her. Go ahead. He's
I don't
muted.
think Mark can unmute.
I'm trying to get him unmuted, but go ahead,
Okay.
Angela. There you are.
Yeah, I just have a concern. I've tried to get some help out here because our SRP reps have both retired and are gone, and I need an SRP rep out here. How's the best way to go about getting that done? I've put 3 calls into the union. I haven't gotten a response from anybody.
Who'd you call?
I called and left a message with Candy one time, with Casey one time. I think Candy twice.
Well, you
So
just got hold of me, so we'll respond to that.
Yeah, I could just use a little
I mean,
help.
Angela, the only thing we can do, and I'm happy to do it, is we
Well,
would
if you
come
want me
out.
to call a meeting, you want me to call a meeting and you come out and
That's-
address?
Yeah,
address it?
yes, that's the only, there's no magic to it. Yes, that's the only way we can do it. And I'll be happy to be the guy to come out if we need to. We'll try to find somebody.
I'll get in touch with you and set up a meeting then.
Call me or you just did. You don't even need to call me. Just you set the meeting and we'll figure out a time. Again, I'm a little bit in transition in terms of retirement. So you and I need to talk as to when this will work for everybody. But
Okay.
let's do it in the next week's time. I'll come out. We'll try to find somebody. Okay?
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it.
I apologize. That should not have happened. You should always get a call. You know that. So
I know that.
we'll follow up. I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Well, listen, thank you all very much. We appreciate your time here this afternoon. It's nice to see some new faces as well as people we've seen for some time. It's always good to see everybody. Hang in there. If you have any other questions on this process, or for that matter, anything else, let us know. And obviously we will respond. Have a great afternoon. Don, anything else, sir?
Just a reminder, you got about 50 minutes to enjoy on your own. But if your school day does extend past 3 o'clock, please go back and do whatever you're supposed to do so that we don't get phone calls about this meeting. Thank you all again for what you're doing, and stay safe.
Bye, guys.
Take
Thank
care,
you.
everybody. Thank you. See you guys.
Mhm.